Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be making a gavel for my social studies teacher as like a end of semester and Christmas gift. So I have the gavel all finished up, and at first I didn't love the way the facets look, but now that the handle and the top are joined together, I think it looks pretty nice. So I have 3 pieces of wood in question for the sounding block. I really like this piece of wood. The only problem is that it's bowed slightly, so it's not level. Then this is kind of just like a cheap piece of plywood. And this is still a piece of plywood. It just has a nice veneer on top. And I was going to use this, but I don't think it will show up on camera. But as I was hitting it, the gavel was making marks in this. So I don't think this is a good option. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to cut a smaller block out of here, like a square. And that's what you will hit, and then it'll be nailed down. So hopefully it won't be bowed anymore. And then the rest will be made out of this, and this will also act as a stand for the gavel, and I think the contrast of wood types is going to look really nice. So let's get to it. I got the pieces of wood cut, so it's going to fit together something like that, and then I'm going to have notches carved in here so the gavel can, sit and balance across it. However, I was using the chop saw to do sliding cuts, and I don't think it will show up on camera, but the chop saw isn't perfectly square, so cuts, and especially longer ones like this one, aren't exactly square either, so these don't match up perfectly. I'm gonna have to sand this piece down so it fits, and I'm also gonna have to sand this piece down so it's square. So it's back to the belt sander. Alrighty, I have this piece kind of squared up, and I have them so they're fitting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little dab of wood glue in the middle. Then I'm going to use 4 nails, I think, from the back to secure this on, and I think that'll look pretty seamless. And then, you have the gavel, and it makes a pretty loud sound, so that's the plan. So I have these little brass picture nails, and using them to hold this together is kind of overkill since I already wood glued it, but I think it will just look really nice aesthetically. So I'm not really gonna measure where I put them, but first I'm gonna pre-drill the holes either with a small drill bit or a little hand drill called a gimlet. Now, my lathe bro, what I use to turn the pieces, does have a mini drill press right here. However, I don't really feel like changing the way it's configured right now, and more importantly, there's actually no size that fits the drill bit I need. So, I'm going to be using the Dremel, this super tiny little drill bit. And I'm not really gonna measure out where I put the holes I'm just gonna eyeball it. So let's turn this on. The reason for drilling these holes is because this is a hard wood. It might split when we put the nails in, or when I put the nails in. So I have a little nail right here. Let's try this out. It's splitting. Well, it's too late now, so I'm just gonna keep going. Oh, crap, I nailed it into my table. Classy. Alrighty, well, nail's driven through, so I'm gonna finish hitting it in. There you go. Now, since it's, really, since it's sticking out, trim that with some bolt cutters and then file it down. So I'm gonna rinse and repeat for the other 3 holes. I got the screws in. I think it looks pretty nice. However, I did drill some of the pilot holes too close to the edge, so the wood did split on a couple of these, and you can actually see the nail right there. And I filed them off on the back. So there's really just 2 more steps left, and that is A, carving the notches for the stand, because the way I imagined it, turn this sideways, the gavel could be displayed on the base like that. Take it up and hit it. Then 2 is staining it just to bring out the grain in the wood, especially this, because this is decent wood. So right now I think I'm going to use the Dremel, and I'm going to measure it out. The gavel is just about done, so you can see I carved some grooves in there, so now you can rest the gavel like that. And then I put his name, Dr. Mark Smith. I didn't have room to write Mark though. Then on the back, put my name, my class year, the day I finished this, and a little message. But of course, when I went to write U's, I put Y-O for some reason. So I had to erase that with the Dremel. So it doesn't show up too well on camera, but such is life. And then to put his name in, some parts I used a nail and I just hit it with a hammer, and down here I used the Dremel and I drilled little holes. And there you go. So now the last step is to varnish or coat these in oil. And we do have some tongue oil finish, however, I don't love the way it looks. It's more like top coat. And I want something that will kind of bring out the grain of these woods. So that's the next step. Now, I really wanted to avoid using this tongue oil finish. I don't love the way it looks, but we don't have any other oils or finishes right now. So one thought I had is I made this magic wand a couple weeks ago, like a month ago, and I was just bored. Had some time on my weekend, and what I did is I faceted it with the belt sander. Then I used these wood markers, which is what I used to write on the back. I used these wood markers, and I colored over it, and then I used a knife to scrape color off the high points, and it created this really cool effect. But I'm not sure how it'll look on the gavel, so I think I'm going to leave well enough alone. I'm already not a huge fan of the way the facets look. Like, I like them, but I think it might have looked a little bit better before I did it. So I'm just going to use some tongue oil finish. So yeah, let's do that. And this is the final product. This is the gavel completed, and I think it looks really nicely. The tongue oil finish turned out pretty well, and I like the way it brings out the grain, especially on the nice sounding block piece in the center. Well, what do you guys think? Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. These are just some still photos.